Yemen has been under constant bombardment for the last 18 months. A conflict between Houthi rebels and a Saudi-led coalition. Both sides have been accused of war crimes, but it is the Saudis that the UK and its Western allies are backing. I was in Houthi-held territory in Abs in northern Yemen 3 weeks ago, when a nearby Médecins Sans Frontières hospital was hit by a Saudi airstrike. This footage was filmed by local residents immediately after the attack, which ended up killing 19 people.
All the patients were at ease. Some were sleeping. There were sleeping children and there were mothers giving birth. There were no problems at all. There were no Houthis or any armed people in the hospital. Only the doctors and nurses who work here.
At around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, patients, doctors, nurses here could hear aeroplanes flying overhead. They didn't think it would strike, not only because this is a residential area, but because this is a hospital. But an airstrike did hit right over here by the emergency room, killing at least 15 people.
People lost their jobs and homes. All of this is nothing compared to the loss of people's life. They are innocent. Who is responsible for what is happening to us?
Saudi Arabia claims that the targeting of the hospital was a mistake. But MSF insists that all parties to the conflict have been provided with clear GPS coordinates of the hospital's location.
It is markings for the coalition to know it's a hospital. They were fully aware, and we contact them on a daily basis and tell them of MSF's whereabouts. And this logo is painted on the roof to differentiate this building from all other buildings. And yet they still bombed this hospital.
19-year-old Ayman was a local MSF volunteer. He had just driven his ambulance through the hospital gates when the airstrike hit. He and the patients in the back of his ambulance were all killed.
He came home at 1 p.m. to have lunch and went back to work. At 3 o'clock, we heard the bombing of the airstrike. I was screaming, "My son, my son, my son." They told me he was in the hospital. Someone else said he was in the ambulance, so I ran there myself. I found my son underneath the cupboards, completely burnt, like a piece of coal.
This was the 4th MSF hospital to have been destroyed in this conflict. The charity has now withdrawn from northern Yemen. The country's infrastructure has been devastated. Meanwhile, nearly 4,000 Yemeni civilians have been killed and another 6,000 injured.